Okay, so welcome all of you. Uh, this is Sunday Meritive Live, and we are live again, second time, and I hope all of you are going to join in some time. As mentioned, I can see some people joining in already, so thank you so much for being on time and joining in. We have a very exciting session for you today. People are going to love the session because the session is known as being reader. So if you're an avid reader and if you're looking for some reading tips and some lockdown reading tips especially, I think you're going to love this particular session. We have a very special guest today, and she's going to join us in some time. As promised, her name is Donna, and she's going to share with us her 5 book recommendations and what is it like being a reader as well. So she's going to be up there in some time. We're just waiting for her to join in. But just letting everybody know who's joined in right now that this is Meritive Live. So every Sunday, as you must be knowing, that we are going live at 6 p.m. And we have quite a few interesting people joining in already. Who are readers, who are non-readers, who are looking for reading, who have lost touch with their reading, everything together. So today, like I said, we have a very special guest with us today. Her name is Donna, and Donna is going to be joining us in some time, and she's going to tell us about her reading journey, especially during the lockdown, and what she did to ensure that she's keeping up with the reading spirit. Okay, I think Donna is already there with us, and sure, we'll just take Donna in. Just give me a minute. So guys, we're just waiting for Donna to show up. I've just sent her a request and she'll be here in no time. Oh, Donna left. Okay, so Donna's going to join us back in some time. I guess there's some network issue. So once she joins us back, and I'm going to try and take her in because she's promised a lot of book reading recommendations, and she's promised us to tell us about what is that motivates her to read every day, and what are the 5 books that she's also going to tell us about. Okay, so I'll just try and take her in once more. So here we go.
Hi
Hi,
there.
Donna. How are you?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good, Donna. Thank you. Am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Donna? Is it
Yes,
Donna? You can.
it's Donna. You're pronouncing it right. That's right.
Okay. Great, Donna. Thank you for joining in today. Let me tell you, you're our first guest. So,
Oh,
so you can
that's
also tell
great.
us what we. Yes, you are. You are our
Um,
first guest. So,
this is quite an honor actually. When I found out about Meritive some months ago, I was like really it's like a place where readers can go and discuss things, and
yeah.
that sort of place was not there in the Indian reading community so far,
Yeah.
and I felt that the initiative that Meritive has taken is really commendable. So I'm really happy to be the first one in this reading session, the reading room things. Yeah.
Our pleasure. Yes, thank you for naming it. Yes, this is called the reading room because it really is like a reading room where you just talk about
Right.
books, and not just books. Narrative also is about discussion about any kind of topic. So if you go to our website
Right.
narrative.com, you'll also see that not only is there topics about books specifically, but if there's any specific article you've come across, or if any topic you've come across, you can really talk about it, and it also lets you engage with the other people who've also posted books or articles.
Yes,
Great.
that's
So thanks.
one of the key features which I really like about Merit is that you can engage in conversation with other readers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So Donna, let us know what kind of a reader you are. We'll start the session with knowing that first. Are you a
Okay.
voracious reader, or you get bored of a book easily? What kind of a reader you are, and also where are you joining us from? Which city?
I'm joining you from Guwahati right now, and to bring you up to speed about what kind of a reader I am, I'll just give you a quick peek into my bookshelf back there.
Yeah, we
Okay.
could see that.
So, yeah, I think I would describe myself as a voracious reader because I've been reading
Hmm.
since I was 6 years old, and it's been a journey with books. And I
Hmm.
read just about
Yeah,
everything, fiction, non-fiction, everything.
that's amazing. Yeah, even if you didn't shift, we could still see that it was just coming in the way. So we could see your
Yeah,
nice,
I thought
very
this would be a
organized.
good frame.
It would. I don't have such a frame, so I'm just taking the help of plants and chairs.
That's all right.
Anyways,
It looks pretty anyway.
okay, so Donna, we have a packed day today, and we have a lot of things to talk to you about today as well. So we'll start off with one question that I thought I'll definitely ask you because you know when we went to your Instagram page, it was all books and reading everything. So what is it that motivates you to read every day? Is it just because you're a voracious reader, or because you're so interested to know new things and more things? So let us know, what is it that motivates you to read every day?
Um, I think it's more like a habit. I built it up when I was a kid, so I read more out of habit than anything else. And also
Hmm.
because it's a form of escapism for me. When life gets too boring, you can always get into books and the stories that there are in books. And
Yeah.
the past few months especially, you don't feel like reading things like on the news, or all the negativity that has been around. So books have been really helpful in this during this pandemic especially.
Hmm. Hmm. And since you said that you've joined us from Guwahati, so
Right.
is there a specific book culture or a cafe thumb book culture in Guwahati already, or is it still coming up with that?
Yes, there is actually. It has been here for since around 2016, I would say. They started going for these book cafe things, but it's
Okay.
still in a developing phase. It's not like there are many events around all the time, but I think there's a lot of scope for this in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's great to know. All right, so we'll jump straight into the recommendations that you had made on our website. I did go
Okay.
through it, and it sounded really interesting. So we'll jump into the 5 book recommendations that you have done for our readers. And you know, I was also going through the books because I haven't read all of them. So we'll start with the first book, I think, which is His Father's Disease by Aruni Kashyap. I did
Right.
mention. Oh, great. I did see that there is a specific northeast tone in the book, which you had also mentioned in the
Yes.
post. So would you like to tell us a little bit about the book and how is it relevant to anybody who's listening to you from, let's say, any of the 8 states in northeast?
Okay. So there's been this feeling among people from the Northeast that most of the books that are written in our regional languages do not get much exposure in the mainland, or
Hmm.
on even on an international platform. But
Hmm.
because Aruni is a professor of creative writing at the University of Georgia, I think he has this special ability to get his stories across to a wider audience. And that's
Okay.
why these simple stories from the Northeast, which are not, they're not like really mind blowing or different in in any specific way, but
Hmm.
I think they're really simple stories from the Northeast,
Yeah.
the everyday lives of people, which are getting
Yeah.
a really nice place in the international reading community. So I think that's one of
Hmm.
the reasons why I recommend this book to people who are not from the Northeast, so that they can get like small peek into what life is like here, and that it's not all
Yeah.
about insurgency or
Yeah.
the association with China and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you this because I've been to Guwahati a few times, and I did find
Right.
the place very rich in culture and food. Of course, I can't miss the amazing food that not only just Assam but across Northeast that you have, and I'm a fan for sure. But yeah, there is definitely more to, like you said, to just. I think the fact that we call it just Northeast is also a little wrong.
Yeah, that's
There are different eight states over there. So
yeah, there
yeah,
are eight
thanks.
states.
Hmm. So
That's really nice
what
to know that you enjoyed being here in Northeast. That's nice to know.
yeah, I've been to four of these states. I want to visit four
Okay,
more. So, yeah,
all right,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
great.
So when I went to Meghalaya, I had to go to Assam. When I had to go to Arunachal Pradesh, I had to go to Assam. So Assam was like the
It's
place
called
where
the gateway of the Northeast
it's
for
the
a
gateway.
reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, great. Anything apart from Northeast representation that you like about this particular book?
There's also a bit of focus on LGBT in the stories that Aruni writes. That's kind of it's not found in the typical literature that comes out of the Northeast. So that's another reason why I really like his stories. The title,
Hmm.
the story, it's a collection of short stories, right? So the story that made it to the title of the book, that is his father's disease, is about uh, an LGBT issue. So I won't be divulging too much about the story,
Yeah.
but I
Hmm.
really found it unique that Aruni, he was brave enough to write about it uh, and talk about it among this conservative Assamese society that we live in.
Okay. Okay. Great. So that's one of the stories you're saying that they talk about
Yes,
this issue. Okay. All right. All right. Great.
yes.
So that's a lot of shackle breaking conversation already.
Yeah,
I'm just here in the first book.
yeah.
That's great. Great.
Four more to
So
go.
yep. So we'll go into the next book, which is of course the very famous Kite Runner by Khalid Hosseini. Oh, you're ready. That's great.
I have four out of the five books. One of them I lent it out to someone, so I'm prepared with all the other four of them.
So I think somebody's already mentioned that they're going to end up adding all these books to their list, which is the best comment to have for any book reader, I think.
Yes,
Great.
definitely.
So are you anyways a fan of Khalid Hosseini, or you're specifically this book fan, or tell us more about what you like about this book?
I read this book really late. Among people who have read Khalid Hosseini books, I think they start off with the Kite Runner and then they go on to other books, mostly because this is
Hmm.
his most famous book.
Most
But
famous.
I
Okay.
read The Thousand Splendid Suns first, and then I was just
Hmm.
kind of traumatized by the story. It was so sad, and I was just 15 years old, and to think all of
Yeah.
the sadness in the lives of the protagonists in the book, they're both female. I was
Hmm.
actually so traumatized that I stopped reading Khalid Hosseini books for a time. And then I told myself that I was not ready emotionally, perhaps, to read such heavy topics. But then this lockdown season, like I said, I got a chance to reconnect with the books that I had lying around but had not read. So The Kite Runner was among them, and it was like a reminder why Khalid Hosseini's books are so well read. And this
Yeah.
story was, again, it was heartbreaking, but it was
Hmm.
also so beautifully written, so captivating in its storytelling that I told myself that even at the cost of crying, I am going to read this book.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I also feel that when you reread a book, you discover more, and you probably discover emotion that you might not have felt because you were younger, less matured. So
Younger,
it's like watching a movie again. You understand more things, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You
So,
notice more things among the things that you had overlooked previously.
yeah, absolutely. So Kite Runner also has a very strong, background of Afghanistan and a slightly strange political situation. But at the same time, it's also a very human father and son story. So, have you also read books like those which have slightly tensed political situation in the background, but at the end of the day, it is a human story. Have you also read other books like that, or are you into this genre anyways?
Yes, I have actually read the Persepolis by Mariam Satrape. That book is also
Okay.
it's a graphic novel. I read it as a graphic novel. So
Hmm.
even that is about how Persia became so politicized and because of the rise in fundamentalism over there. So even that story, it's about a young girl growing up. At its heart, it's a very simple story, but the backdrop being so political makes it an even more stronger story. Apart from that, there's also, I think, Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. That's about
Okay.
migration. So migration is a very hot topic in Assam, as you may have
Yeah.
heard, because of the Bangladeshi
Of
immigration
course.
thing.
Yeah.
So mostly, so mostly people like to say that these outsiders are going to take away our identity, that sort of thing. But nobody
Hmm.
thinks about what it means to be an outsider or a migrant. So I think
Hmm.
that Mohsin Hamid's Exit West beautifully captures that that perspective of the migrant themselves, and not
Hmm.
just them as statistical figures who are like coming and going across nations.
Hmm, great. Yeah, and since you mentioned Assam, we of course we don't live there, but we of course keep hearing stories about the recent NRC debate which happened in
Yeah.
December and how it blew apart. I think it would have still continued in Delhi if the COVID situation wasn't there because the protests were still
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. The protests were still on.
yeah,
It's really
absolutely.
like everything has been disrupted because of the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a little sad, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go into the next book, which is called The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah.
Gaiman?
Neil Gaiman. Yeah.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
he calls it
So I have no
Gaiman.
idea about this book. Sorry, I was just saying
Okay.
that I had no idea about this book. If you can tell us what drew you into this book to everybody.
Um, Neil's books, I do not have this book. I have lent it to someone, so I can't, I do not have it with me right
No
now,
problem.
but I have some of his other books by Neil. So his writings are very, I think they fall in the genre of fantasy. And many people
Mm-hmm.
also like to say that he's a children's book writer, but I think his
Hmm.
stories are actually meant for a more adult audience. So this book is about a little boy who goes through some traumatic experiences in life, and then as he's in towards middle age, he tries to go back to his childhood and try to sort of uh, make sense of what happened during his childhood so that he can solve the problems of his adulthood. So at its you can call it a coming of age sort of story, or you can call it a nostalgia inducing story, but it has some elements of magic, and like there are witches, there's something about people being on the moon, and such types of fantasy elements which make Neil Gaiman's stories very
Hmm.
sort of surreal in a manner. So I really like his writing because his work is like he masks everyday things in fantastical events and makes it seem really special in a way.
Okay. Do they also have a certain amount of social message? Is that what draws many people to it, or it's just normal, simple, everyday life?
Oh no, there are social messages in his books. There's I think the Sandman story collection of
Yeah.
graphic novels that he's written that is
Yeah.
coming on Audible. I think it's being made
Okay.
into an audiobook. So
Hmm.
over there, the concepts are he writes in such a way that the social messages are part of the story in a very crucial way. So he develops a universe around the whole concept, and he makes it seem like these social messages become integral to the story. So I think people who read Neil Gaiman's works also take away a lot of messages from his stories.
That's awesome. I think a lot of people. So this might not be as popular, like let's say a Kite Runner, but the way you
Yeah,
explained it, probably I'm sure a lot of people will now start reading him.
right. Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I was just on this book itself. I was just when you said that people usually think of him as a children's book writer, and they don't associate it with him with a adult book writer. Just brought me memories of one of the posts that we did this week, which was about the Japanese manga, and one of our readers had actually
Okay.
mentioned that that's something that people usually associate with kids, but
Huh.
that's actually loved by a lot of adults. So we
Lot of
do a lot of
kids.
ageism.
Yeah,
Casual ageism is there everywhere. So
that's
I
true.
think that's what. That's something that we all are guilty of subliminally. Everybody's done that. That this is children's book and this is adults book, and you read this and you read that. But thanks for mentioning that. Because we like giving tags to people, so this is something that I'm sure people will love. That now that you've mentioned it about Neil Gaiman. Gaiman.
Kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Uh, the next book is again a collection of short stories, which is called Nightfall and the Other Short Stories by Isaac Asimov. And you said the favorite story is called Nightfall itself, right?
Right. That's the featured story in the book.
Okay. So yeah, just tell us what is it that you like specifically about this story over the other stories?
So Isaac Asimov writes mostly science fiction, and his writing, I find them really interesting because I work in biotechnology, and it's like a very futuristic science. So some people call it
Hmm.
sci-fi in a way. So I think this genre has a special place for me. So Nightfall is about this civilization on a planet system that has 6 suns. So there are 6 stars in the planetary system. So that means that at any given time, this particular planet that we are talking about is always lighted up by at least one star in the sky. One that is, we can say, one sun in the sky. So they have this
Mm-hmm.
civilization of people have never experienced night. So to wrap your head
Hmm.
around such a concept just makes you aware that the possibilities that are out there if we consider all the physics and science behind
Hmm.
sci-fi storytelling. It's not just about aliens coming in and
Yeah.
humans fighting, but these kind of stories really put some perspective in us that our lives are like really simple and that
Yeah.
we could have had much bigger problems if we were part of such kind of a civilization where uh, a night every 2000 years would end our civilization. So
Yeah.
that is one of the reasons why I really love Isaac Asimov's writings. He's also called the father of robotics because he established what
Hmm.
robots could or could not do. So I think more people should read sci-fi written by Asimov.
Definitely. I'm sure right now. And somebody just commented that they've added into their TBR, which I was wondering what is it. Then I realized that it's called To Be Read. Okay.
To be read by
Okay, great, great. Sounds good. I mean, I know a lot of people who love reading sci-fi and love reading futuristic things that makes you think a little bit about your privilege in life and how life could have been different if imagine you had, the night only in 2000 years. So
yeah,
generations wouldn't have seen light in that night in that case. Yeah,
right.
great.
That's it.
The last book which you recommended is also made into a movie, and I'll be honest, it's one of my favorite movies as well. It's called The Reader.
Great.
Yeah. It's an amazing movie. I haven't read the book, but I have seen the movie, and then I came to know that there is a book which is called The Reader. And I think this is what happens usually with a lot of people. And this is our article this week as well. You'll probably
Oh,
see it today or tomorrow. Um, where we talk about book to screen adaptations and how a lot of times both of them can help each other. This is a classic rivalry, right? Book versus movies. So book readers will say that the book is amazing and all of that. The TV show or the movie watchers will say that the movie is better or whatever, the show is better. But little do we realize that each of them actually can help each other. So when the movie releases, there's a certain curiosity about, oh, this was a book, so let me go back and read this book. So and vice
right.
versa as well. So when I think everybody watched the Game of Thrones, a lot of people I know who actually went back to read Song of Fire and Ice, and that's why we are so concerned as to where is J.R.R. Martin right now? Where is his cabin where he's secretly writing
Where is the
the rest of
story
the book?
going? Yeah,
Okay, so
that's
so
right.
what is it that you like about the Reader as a book?
I think I really like the fact that they took something as simple as reading a book out loud to someone else, and the protagonists in the book, they connect over that, right? There's this
Hmm.
young boy who reads a book out loud to an older woman, and
Hmm.
uh, that really bonds them for life. And
Yeah.
years later, when this young boy who he realizes that this older woman had done something terrible in her past,
Yeah.
he although he associates the criminal behavior with behaviors with her, but he also keeps in mind that this special connection that they had over books. So I think that's one of the reasons why I really liked it, because this
Mm.
reading connection is very hard to find among people.
Yeah.
So that's why I really love this book. Also because it has a different sort of viewpoint on how the Holocaust was
Mm.
captured here, because we mostly talk about direct connections where a person has done something or their family has gone through something, but in this book it's more about what a person in power did, and how the generation after them realized that things just couldn't have been helped. That was the way
Yeah.
things were at the time, and there's a sort of realization in the next generations to be better people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is where we can also we were just talking about how we are talking about books which have human stories against a strange political background. I think even this one
Yeah,
fits into that category where they are
yes, yes.
they just like each other's company and like each other reading out. The guy reads out to the girl, and how everything is so strange about their relationship otherwise, but still at the same time
Yeah,
everything is so pure about their relationship. So I think that's
yes,
great. Great choice, I must
that's
say. So anything apart from these five books you think, maybe if I ask you one or two books, because you can't really say five books, no? I mean, I'm sure you have
right.
many other.
Always more books to talk about.
So if I have to ask you, name two more, which you came as sixth or seventh, what books would they be?
I recently read a book by Sanjay Hazarika. It's called Rites of Passage. It is about the migrant situation again, and
Hmm.
I hadn't really known about Sanjay Hazarika's writing before this. It turns out that he's a very acclaimed New York Times writer, and he's right now on the committee for the revision of the Constitution. So that makes him like a very inspirational figure. So
Okay.
the book that he has written is very well researched. He goes into the whole topic of why people migrate, whether it's just for environmental causes, or whether it's for economic reasons. So that book was really insightful for me, because I'm also trying to do some bit of research into the whole migration scenario over here.
Hmm.
So that book was on my it made it to spot number 6, but I thought that it would get too serious in the conversation, so I did not include it.
No, no, we've just spoken about Afghanistan situation and German situation, so we've spoken serious enough.
It's not that big. Right.
Okay. And what would be number seven in that case?
Number 7 would be this book called The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. So that's a non-fiction
Hmm.
book. It's about
Could you
a
say
cell
that
line
name
that
once
was
again?
The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. So there was
Okay.
this African American woman called Henrietta, and she had developed cervical cancer when she was around 33 years old, and she had gone to the doctors at Johns Hopkins hospital slash university, and her cells were actually cultured in the lab. So prior to that event, it was not possible to culture human cells in the lab. Before that, like mouse cells had been done, but not human cells, and her cells were the first to grow and multiply in a cell in a lab environment. So that book is about this. The book is also made into a movie or a series starring Oprah, but I think it's one of my favorite books because it's about the field in which I work, where I work with a lot of different
Okay.
cell lines. So
Hmm.
it's like a sort of background into the science that was developed out of HeLa cells. So in
Okay.
that way, I really like it, and I love talking about it to people.
That's amazing. Some really interesting choices, I must say. So thanks, Donna, for letting us know. And I'm sure after this, a lot of people will be adding it into the new word that I've read is TBR. I am also going to
Yes.
add it into my TBR in that case. One thing before we let you go is we have a bookish rapid fire for you because everyone's doing
Okay.
it. So we might as well do one rapid fire with you. And these are all questions regarding books and reading. So
Okay.
are you ready?
Right. I'm ready. All right.
Okay, great. So I have a list in front of me, so I'm going to look a little away time and again. So just bear with me.
That's fine.
So
Okay,
Donna,
that's fine.
you have we'll ask you 15 questions in rapid fire, and just
Okay.
ensure that you think less and answer more. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So some questions might be slightly difficult to answer because those might be like, how do I answer this? But just give us a random figure or a number so that we have a broad idea of what we are asking. Okay, so question number one. How many books have you read till date?
I'd say about 400 plus. I haven't really cataloged them, but I'd say 400 plus.
Okay, great. Best book so far in 2020 that you have read?
Um, the Testament by Margaret Atwood.
Okay.
That,
New release in okay. New release of 2020 that you haven't read but you want to read.
it's called Under Two by Jahnavi Borua.
Okay. Um, what is the most anticipated book that you are expecting later this year or maybe in 2021? Anything that you're looking forward to?
A Suitable Girl by Vikram Seth. I'm really waiting for that book for a long time.
The series is coming out, by the way, on Netflix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. That would be great.
Yeah. Okay, great. What is your biggest disappointment of a book that you have read till date?
The Twilight series, actually.
Unpopular opinion, I'm sure, but anyways, thanks for being honest. What is the biggest surprise of a book that you have read till date?
The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. The narrator turned out to be the murderer. So,
This is
spoiler
not
alert.
going into TBR. Okay. All right. So, what is the new favorite author, or let's say a budding author who you've read and you were like, wow, where were you all this while?
New favorite author. I think I'd go with Aruni Kashyap, the first book that I mentioned. So Aruni is
Okay.
definitely a new favorite.
Okay. Any underrated book, an underrated gem of a book that you have read and that nobody has kind of read? Is that any kind of book like that?
It's Salman Rushdie's. It's something called The Clown. I forget the name, but it's a really beautiful book about Kashmir. I think more people should read it. It's really beautiful.
Okay, okay. I'm sure people will be looking forward for it. Um, any book that you've reread this year in 2020?
Oh, yeah. The Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens.
Okay. One book, you've already answered this question, but still I'll ask you. One book that made you cry.
The Kite Runner did recently.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah. Okay. What book made you very happy?
Tough. I think I mostly read sad books, but it's really tough. I don't know.
Did you just say that you mostly read sad books?
Yeah, I think most of my books are
It's
like
okay.
really hard, difficult books.
Just asking, just
Uh,
asking. Yeah, okay.
I can't come up with an answer.
No problem. Okay, so what is the most beautiful book that you have bought so far this year or received? Any book that you have got as a gift and you thought that that was the most beautiful book that you have got
Yeah, there's a
till
book
date?
called Lifespan by David Sinclair. I got it as a gift. It's about why people age and why we don't have to age if the science is developed, right?
Oh, interesting. Okay. Um, do you have any, and don't say you don't have any, do you have any fictional crushes? Like you love this
Oh, I
character
do.
and you're crushing. Yeah. You can say more than one if you want.
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, Harry Potter was a big, huge crush, of course.
That's on the comments as well.
But yeah, but yeah, this guy is a friend of mine, so he knows all about my fictional crushes. But among the recent reads, I think my crushes are mostly female because I read about strong female protagonists more now.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. And last question. any new favorite book character that you wish was available in real life? I mean, when I say available, I mean existed in real life. Yeah.
Existed in real life. Right. I think he's not new actually. He's from the 18th century, I guess. It's Mr. Jarvis Lorry from Tellson's Bank in the Tale of Two Cities. He's the banker guy, right? So I
Okay.
think that he was like this neglected character in the book who did most of the work there, you know. So I really like him to, you know, just sit down and have a cup of tea with me.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So great. You did great in your 15 questions, Donna. And anything else that you would like to say to our, to our Meredith community, or anybody who's probably not as an avid reader as you read 400 books a year. So, nobody is an avid reader in front of you. But still, if but still, if you have to say anything to anybody who, probably doesn't have the habit of reading as much, or has lost the habit of reading. So, what will be your one suggestion that you would like to give to such a person?
I'd say that if it's difficult for you to pick up a book or to read a big novel, then start with short stories. It's always the easiest way to, you know, get back into reading. And also, if you're a
Yeah.
new reader, then stories will definitely help you build a taste in what kind of genre you'll be more interested in. So, short stories are the rescuers in this matter.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And with that, we'll say thank you, Donna. Thank you for joining in all the way from Guwahati. I think that's the power of technology that binds us all together. And see, you are somebody who loves to read, and you finally found a page or a website where we are only talking about not just books but anything that interests you. So please, keep an eye on Meditative.com and on our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and we have many more pages. And get new and bright ideas from fellow readers as well. So thank you
Yeah,
and
my
goodbye.
best
See you.
wishes to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.